What's up, everybody? It's Matt Dollar, and I'm back with round 2 of the East Roswell Park Ironman tournament. And we'll be playing the red tees, which are the short tees. So the way this tournament worked is we played rounds 1 and 2 back to back without a lunch break, since we had 3 rounds in one day. So Matlack started on hole number 2 the first round with these 3 guys, and we just switched cards. That way I could get all of my hole sponsors on video for this tournament. So that was me teeing off first, and like I said, we're on hole number 2. I went with a sidearm with my spark. I thought it was good, but I just caught that tree at the end of the gap. And teeing off second, we got my good buddy Mikey Golden, and Mikey is a lefty, so we'll get to see some lefty love out here. And teeing off third, we've got Roswell Disc Golf Club Prez, Bryan Gort. And rounding out our 4 players is Koty Bashford. Koty normally plays rec. He's a fairly new player, up-and-comer, you might say. So this will be everyone's first look at him. So I'm not able to make good on my birdie, and that's kind of a bummer, but Gort will. Mikey actually went pretty far past. So in the first round, Bryan actually shot a 49, which is -7, which would have him in second place, or tied for second, if we had reshuffled the cards after the first round. And Koty actually shot a even par 56 from the blue tees. And lastly, Mikey. Mikey's a little funny because what happened is he actually showed up late, and so he missed the first 4 holes. So he took 7s on the first 4 holes. But he played pretty decent after that, including he hit an ace, the only ace of the first round. So
you know what though? I can use all the birdies.
So we move on to hole 3. I went with the Octo Culver in there. Hole 3 is a beautiful hole. It's just a little over 300 feet, and it's just dead straight, framed up in this beautiful tunnel. So gotta love this hole. Mikey's lining up here after taking a bogey on our first hole. Could have been a little nerves playing on the on video for the first time. I know first time I ever played on video, I definitely suffered from a little bit of nerves. Looking like he's going to throw a 4-hand roller out of there. That's a very good out. I mean, basically where he was already just conceding that a bogey would be about the best he could do. Gort goes a little deep on his second shot, and Koty, I believe Koty threw an A4 off the tee. He's over there on the right side. So here's Mikey trying to give it a little chance. Mikey's just one of the coolest dudes ever. He actually played on my Georgia Team Invitational team a few months ago at North Georgia Canopy Tours, where I will also be running the Georgia Flying Disc Championship in November, November 12th and 13th. Koty gave a pretty good bid there, but unfortunately he caught the bogey band dead center and rolled right back to where he was. And he throws a pretty good putt there too. Man, for half a second I feel like I'm watching someone putt on Mach 3s because it was a double no catch there. So Gort makes a good putt, saves his par. I barely squeaked my birdie in there. Yeah, Gort likes it. A little left side. And we move on to hole 4. I went with the judge. I was going to try to ace it, and I caught that one tree that blocks you coming in. Got a double kick, though, and leaves me pretty much parked. Gort goes a little left side, but he should be pretty much parked, too. Mikey throws a pretty good one up there. It's a little bit to the right, but that'll give him a long putt. And Koty will round out our tee shots here on hole number 4. He throws a perfect shot straight up the middle. Nice putt from Mikey. And Koty.
Good putt.
So Koty plays mostly with Prodigy discs. I'm not sure if he's all Prodigy, but for the most part, that was the A4 that he's throwing on a lot of the holes, that white disc, which is the new disc they just came out with. So hole number 5 from the red tees is basically just a little upshot. And I went with the soft seamless again. This time I made sure to throw it a little bit further to the right and a little deeper. Everyone throws pretty good shots. Should get everyone a putt. Koty must have caught a little roll there because his shot looked like it was coming in near the basket, but you will catch some rolls on this hole. That was a great putt from Koty. He was probably about 35 feet, just outside the circle. Mikey's got a little downhill look. Mikey throws mostly Trilogy plastic, although he putts with ABRs. And if you notice, I've switched to a white putter at this point. That is my classic blend judge, because it's just a little bit harder than the classic soft judge, the red disc that I was putting with. And like I said, it's a million degrees outside, so got a little too soft. So we moved to hole number 6, and from the red tee, it's short, but it's straight uphill, and it's a little bit of a squirrely line. I went with a thumber with my hatchet, which I like to do when I have really tight lines, but the hole's not very far, or the shot that I'm throwing is not very far. That's when you'll see me pull out a hatchet for a thumber or tomahawk when I need to keep it in a very small gap. They do a very good job for those thumbers. Koty also goes to the thumber here, as did Gort, who caught a tree. But if you notice, Gort threw a thumber with his left hand because he's a weirdo. And he's actually left-handed, but he was pretty big into baseball growing up, so he just has that natural baseball swing. You know, as a lefty swinging a baseball bat, you throw your right arm forward in the same motion you would when you're throwing a righty backhand drive in disc golf. So it just feels natural to him, so he goes with that righty backhand and the lefty overhand and lefty sidearms. So I'll card the birdie on hole 6, and we'll move to hole number 7. Hole 7 is pretty tough from every tee. So the blue and the black are right beside each other, and the red's just in front of them. I went with, I believe I went with my hard mace. Yeah, it was 0 hard mace, definitely. It was the red one, which is just a hair more stable than the yellow one. Mikey has to throw a turnover here. It's a really tough hole for a lefty, and he hits a tree and kicks right, and I do believe he kicked out of bounds. Actually, I guess he stayed in, because it looks like he's not quite at the path there. So Mikey did stay in bounds, and he'll have a chance to save his par. He's going to need a good shot, though. He's got to throw a hyzer in between some trees. Looks like he was able to do it. Very good shot from Mikey there. Gort pitches up, and Koty Bashford is probably looking to do the same. Yep, just going to pitch himself up there so we can get a par. And I'll tap in my birdie. So after missing the first hole, which was hole 2, I've successfully gotten birdies on 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's 5 twos in a row. Before we move into hole 8, which will be the shortest par 4 that we play today. So from the red tees, I'm actually going to try to work something through all those trees and try to get to the basket. I threw a bunch of practice shots a few days before the tournament when I played here, because I never play the red or blue tees, so I ran through them a couple times, and I tried that big anhyzer, and I actually got up there for a putt a few times, but not much of a gap to aim at, because like I said, this hole is meant to be a 2-shot hole. So when you have pros playing from the short tees, on this hole, it's a little weird. So this will be one of the holes that hopefully we can make it a little better hole when we add a concrete short tee. But even though it's short, I actually am in way worse position than I would be playing the long tee because I play safe from the long tee. But from the short, I hit that tree and kicked backwards early right, so had a little bit of a tough shot. In fact, everyone got a little aggressive off the tee, and that left everyone with reasonably tough upshots. Mikey's going to have to really get down low here and try and bend something with Annie, I believe, around these trees. He's able to do it. Very good upshot from Mikey. So Koty's still got some work to do if he wants to try and save his 3. Not able to do it. There's me putting out from my 3, which will make my 6th birdie in a row, even though it's kind of a soft birdie. And actually, that was Koty putting for his 4, so Koty is going to tap out for a 5 here. So he'll take a bogey, and the rest of us will all take a birdie there. And we move to hole 9. So from the blue tee to the red tee, you just move up about 20 feet. And I pretty much went with that same line. Actually, I went with a little wider line than I normally play. Normally, I try to go in between the 2 light trees that you see in front of you. But I actually went to the left of that pine tree that he just went to the right of there. Because it's a little more clear line. And since I didn't need as much distance from the short tee, I played that way. And I threw a felon because it doesn't pan as much as my Moonshine Spark. So Koty's found himself in some real trouble over here, and he just has to throw a forehand roller just to get out of there. Gort pitches down just to the left. That should give him an easy par. And unless Koty's able to find some kind of miracle here, he's looking at a bogey. And he will not try for the miracle. He'll just pitch it up there. Mikey needs this to save his par. Oh no, actually that was Mikey's drive, so he was putting for a birdie there. That's right, he worked a very nice backhand down there off the tee. Unfortunately, he doesn't capitalize, and so he'll settle for a par. Koty taps in his bogey putt. And I'll knock in my birdie. And we move to hole 10, where I'm going with a thumber. Shocker. Yeah. So there's still the same problem as from the blue tee with throwing a thumber on hole 10. You're going to finish short right of the basket. But I'm playing so good that I figured that that'd be fine. You know, just give myself a putt and see what happens. Because I currently have 7 birdies in a row after parring the first hole of the round. So Mikey pulls it a little left there, and Koty pulls a little right. Everyone's got some scrambling to do, except for me, maybe. We'll see where I ended up. Koty pitches a pretty good upshot there. So Gort's just trying to land one safely. He landed just short of the basket, but there is a hill behind the basket. And I'm not sure if he just caught a nasty skip or if he skipped once and then caught a roll, but Gort's going to have some work on the comebacker. So this is my look for birdie. Putting with that classic blend judge again.
Nice catch, dude. That was left side of
You can see me look at everybody. I know I got a little love there because I hit just a little bit left, but it stuck. So that's 8 birdies in a row. Feels good to be getting some birdies after that tough first round. Koty with a nice putt there. Gort's going to need this to save his par. And just like me in the first round, got trapped down there with a long comebacker and could not quite get it in. So Gort, who's having a pretty good round, is going to take his first bogey. And we move to hole 11, the double Mando hole.
I just missed you, sucker.
Looked like I hit a beautiful line there with the spark. I was actually thinking maybe I was able to skip and give it a chance of going in, but this is the elevated basket that sits on the little cinder block pyramid, I guess you'd call it. And so we got Mikey up next. Mikey's going with a mid-range here. Mikey makes the Mando. Looks like a pretty good shot. That should give him a chance at birdie. Koty's taking out the A4. Ooh, he pulls it a little right, but barely makes the Mando, and that should actually give him a putt for birdie, because it did appear to be hyzering back. Gort's going to be driving with an ABR here, a really old beat-up ABR. Wow, Gort had a really good line on that one, but there's one tree about 20 or 30 feet short of the basket, just to the right, and he hit it. So he's going to have to settle for a long putt for birdie, and he misses and catches a little roll, so now he's got a long comebacker for par. Mikey makes a good stroke, and so does Koty. They both get birdies. I'm not sure how Koty ended up on the left side there, actually. His shot definitely went over to the right. So Gort needs to make this good putt just to save his par. Very nice putt from Gort. And we're going to get up here and see where mine landed. My drive, that is.
Oh, man.
Check this
action
out.
I skipped right up. Either hit this and flipped in or hit the pole
all the way up into
back.
the tiny little base and still didn't get the CTP. Crazy stuff.
Oh,
but
God,
I was able to snag another birdie. And we move on to hole 12. I threw that thumber straight over the out of bounds and actually hit one of the trees that's just on the border. Luckily, I didn't kick back in. I hit the left side of the tree, so it still kicked me up there. So I have a long putt for birdie still.
Oh, man.
Koty throws a good shot, and so does Mikey. We got Gort left. Gort goes with the hyzer line, and he catches some lettuce and drops down out of bounds. Tough break for Gort. Takes his meter, misses his putt. He's going to be settled up with another bogey here. That's 2 of the last 3 holes. Boom! Mikey with the big birdie from downtown. Great putt from Mikey. Koty has a weird hyzer look from back there, not able to put it in. I sneak my birdie in the left side there. And Gort cleans up his bogue. So we will move on to hole number 13 here. Oh, leaning basket got him. So hole 13, this round I'm playing good, so I stick to the game plan and throw it down the right side. It was just a little bit wide, scared me for a second. Mikey takes one down the middle. It's always so tempting just to try and throw it straight down the middle on this hole, but I think the smart play is to take it down the right side if you're right-handed. Gort threw his just a little bit tight. He's got a really long putt. Nice putt from Gort.
Nice. Walk it out.
Gort's a pretty darn good putter. We got Koty, just a little further down the fairway than Gort was. Gives a good height, but just a little bit right. Mikey trying to wipe off some of that sweat from this hot, humid day. Mikey sticks it in there on the left side. And I will finish out for my birdie. And I believe that gives me 11 birdies in a row. Woo. And we'll move on to hole number 14. I'm going to go with a thumber with opto culverant, looks like. I really wanted that one too. It just had a little too much pan on the thumber. I had the hatchet in my hand originally, and I should have went with that. Because even if it flipped just a little bit early, it's got a better chance of getting through and onto the green than with the culverin, which pans just a little bit more.
Good shot.
Mikey throws a nice one down there. Gort goes lefty thumber. Knew he'd squared that tree right out of his hand. Koty's gonna go with the traditional straight down the middle route.
That thing knocked like 14 pine cones.
Skips it more than halfway, it looked like.
Do it. Oh, man.
It's one thing you have to get used to playing in Georgia. You have the pine straw, and you definitely got to learn how to slide the pine straw because your disc does funny things.
Dude,
And that right there will stop my birdie train at 11 in a row, and I will have a little work coming back from my par. Koty makes a nice putt there to get his birdie. And I knocked my par in. Mikey is about the same distance as me. He throws in his birdie. So Mikey and Koty with birdies. Gort and myself will take the par. And we'll move on to hole 15. So hole 15, moved up to the red tee, and one issue you got to think about now is throwing it too far and going out of bounds. Looks like Carla's going with the raised monopod shot again here. So the camera gets a little less steady, but trying to get a little more elevation to possibly see the basket, which we're still not quite able to. I'm not sure if I went with the judge or the scenist there. I guess we'll see when I get up there and mark my lie. Whichever one it is, though, it looks like it turned out pretty good.
Oh, baby!
Gort with a big skip and bummer.
Keep going.
Oh, I went with the classic judge. That's right. I remember now. The classic blend judge, actually. Mikey throws a nice little soft turnover shot for his upshot. And Koty will have a long downhill putt. So that fast green leads right to that walking path, and I was about 3 feet from the walking path, so I wasn't actually able to take a meter in or anything. But I was able to knock it in there for my birdie. And Gort was only a couple feet in front of me. Yeah, he leaves his just a little bit short. Gort started out with a really good round, but he's just slightly been slipping with some bad luck and then a few missed putts, just a little bit low. So we move on to hole 16. I'm going with the defender here, and that's definitely the best shot I've ever thrown on this hole from the red tee. I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to look like, but I thought I might have covered enough distance to get me almost pin high. It definitely finished to the left, so that can be sketchy, but anytime you get that far on this hole, you've done great things. So this hole is still considered a par 4 from here, since it is the red tees, and you know, people that are playing the red tees are generally a little bit lower skilled. So
I went 3-3.
Kind of a tweener, I guess, from the Reds for better players, because you really can't get a 2. I mean, you can, but I personally have never seen anyone get a 2 from any of the tee pads here. So, but you don't really want to get a 4 playing the Reds. So my whole deal was, I figured since I got a really good round going, I might as well just play super aggressive. Because originally I was just going to throw a mid-range, probably one of my beat-up maces straight down the middle. So I believe Gort went with a sidewinder there, and he pulled it just a little bit and kicked over to that left side. And if you don't make that tight bottleneck gap right there, then you're going to have a really hard second shot. So we got Koty trapped in the stuff on the right side. Koty throws a pretty good sidearm here to get him down there. He's going to like that. So now we're back over to Gort here on the left side. Wow, Gort with a beautiful lefty forehand. And Mikey doesn't have too much work to do. He throws a nice little soft up shot. So we got to my lie, and it is not pretty at all. If I would have had a spot where I could just pitch up to the basket, I would have. But since there wasn't any really good option, I decided to try with try a big Anheuser and maybe make it, but
Nice.
great putt from Gort there to save his 4.
Best drive I've ever thrown on this hole. And I didn't
So
have
I
a
knew
spot
I'd
where I
put
could
myself
pitch
in a
out
tough
to have
spot
the
here
putt
because now I still got to make a long putt to get a 3. So I decided just to forget the first 2 shots and imagine this is what I got for my birdie. Going with the classic blend Judge once again. And I'm able to get it in there and get my birdie. So the train keeps on rolling. Mikey gets his birdie. And Koty will too. Before we move on to hole number 17. Oh, from the red tee, 17 is an adventure. You got to go right between those 2 trees. I went between there. I went with a hatchet thumber. And those trees are tight. So anyone who throws a backhand off this gap definitely has to, I don't know, get a little uncomfortable to throw it. I see most locals throw an overhand here. Mikey doesn't throw many overhands, but being left-handed, at least if he hits the gap, his disc is going to finish the right direction. So Koty also goes with a thumber. Gort's going to go with a lefty forehand roller. Getting a little freaky. It just kind of landed on too much of a straight up and down angle and just turned right immediately. So Gort's just going to try and pitch one up and save a par. Good job from Gort right there. And Koty's got himself a long uphill putt. However, if you go for this putt and you hit the cage, I would say half the time it rolls back down this hill. So me and Mikey both crested the hill, and back in the day when hole 11 was right there, this would have been out of bounds, but these days, with hole 11 being pushed over there in the corner and being the little hole that it is, there's no out of bounds over here on 17 anymore.
2.
So I'm able to knock my birdie in, and that'll be the only birdie of the group. Everyone else is going to settle for par before we move on to hole number 18. And hole 18, we're going to tee from almost the same location as we did from the blue tees. So the red and blue tees are right next to each other on 18. We're actually going to take both those tees out and put a tee pad just to the right of this, or just to the left of this red tee. Because both shots now have kind of a weird angle. So we're just going to try to make the best shot possible here when we put in the new tee pad. I went with my zero hard mace and turned it over just a little bit. Got a little sneaky though, and so it'll probably set me up for a fairly easy par. This is one of those holes where unless you're parked, you do not really want to run for your putt because it's on that slope, and this one catches even more rollaways than 17. Really, you just want to hit that first gap. You can go to the right or the left of it. As you see, Koty missed the gap to the left, Gort missed it to the right. Mikey's still got a bunch of work to do. Actually, everyone has a bunch of work to do except for me. Where we're looking at right now, I feel like my disc turned over and went just to the right of that big tree. Not the first big tree in front of Mikey, but the one about there. And I definitely got lucky to slide on down to the right a bit. Because if you do miss a little early right and kick right, you find yourself on hole number 10's fairway, and there's no saving it from there. Any chance I had at running this putt basically just went out the window as I watched all 3 of my card mates have to scramble to try and save a par. So I did have a weird little hyzer line I could have taken towards the basket, but instead I decided to play the smart Annie layup putt and just give myself a pretty short putt for a par with only 1 hole remaining. Koty gets a little greedy and runs at that one. Hopefully he didn't roll too far past. Gort's got a long one here. Looks like he's going to give it a run. Wants to save that par. Ooh. Just a little bit high on a perfect line. He catches that tree to save him from getting anything worse than a bogey. So we will move on to hole number 1. And this will be our last hole of the round. Hole number 1, I believe, is about 330 feet, maybe 320 feet from this tee. I've actually never birdied this with a thumber before, but I decided that was the safe play and focused on hitting the gap and just letting it skip over to the right at the end. So if I do go with the thumber, I basically have to play it to finish right at the basket, because anything to the left of the basket is, or anything that pans too far left is going to hit a tree. So once I got that one clear of those trees, I knew that I had insured myself a good round without any bogeys, barring a 3-putt. So I gave a little celebration there. Mikey catches an early tree. Mikey's had a little bit of an up and down round. If you remember, he started out with back-to-back bogeys to begin the round, but since then has been playing pretty darn good golf. In fact, he has only gotten 1 bogey since, and that was just now on hole 18.
Yes.
Gort throws a beautiful shot with a sidewinder up the left side and has it turn a little bit to the right. That should give him a putt to get his birdie. Mikey's forcing to throw in a forehand here. Mikey has an underrated forehand. He's definitely better at it than you would think, because you just don't see him throw it that often. But after seeing that shot right there, I told him he should throw forehands more often, because that was beautiful. So Koty's trapped on the left side, and it's not easy to get out of here near the basket. Turns it into a beautiful roller, and that will give him a putt. Excellent shot. So I've got this putt here from the right side of the green. And this will be for a 41, which would be 15 under par. And I am able to sneak it in there. It definitely felt good squeezing out that 41. This is the first time I've ever played the red tees as a rated round, so I knew I needed to do something good to get back in the game. And I thought that 41 would just be hands down the best score, but turns out our good friend Jake Nye from Chattanooga, Tennessee also squeezed out a 41, throwing nothing but backhands. What? So Gort's got this putt to shoot a 3 under, and good birdie from Gort to finish. So I'm going to lead the card with the 15 under, and that'll move me to 21 under total. Gort shot 3 under, Koty Bashford with a 2 over, and Mikey Golden with a 5 under. So that'll conclude our second round, and we will be back with the black tees, which would be the third and final round of the day. So thank you, Carla Seward, for filming, and Latitude 64 for their sponsorship, and thank you guys for watching.